Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, and I'm continuing my build of the Rocketarium Gadfly here, and painting's done. It went reasonably well. There are no really ugly runs. Coat's pretty smooth. You can see the spiral. I can definitely see it, especially in between the fins. I could have done a bit of a better job there, but yeah, overall, it's fine. So in this video, I'm going to put the decals on. There are two. I'm going to do these first. They are water slides, so hence the water. I've trimmed them most of the way, but I'm going to do the last little bit of trimming now. I typically do this with a pair of scissors rather than a hobby knife, just because I'm better at using scissors, honestly. So I'm going to trim these up here quickly. The first one I chucked in about 20 seconds or so in the what used to be hot water. Auto loosen the backing enough to apply it. Now, where do they go? The instructions are pretty verbose most of the time, but for this, they're not particularly. They say apply one decal with numbers 90 degrees off the launch lug in between the smaller fins. Apply the four larger text decals anywhere between the four larger fins. That's not very specific. I looked at the box, so it's really hard to see, but there's a decal here. This is the number one, and there's one here, and there's one here. So I'm guessing they want us to put two of the script ones on either side. And here's the launch lug. I don't want them on that one, so rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to put it basically centered here, and there we go. Not quite along the fin line. Well, not quite at the end of the fin, but pretty close. That seemed to be what the package picture indicates, but it's up to you. I have to say these are a little bit hard to see, and that's because the paint color I chose here is probably not the exact right color. It's supposed to be like more of an olive drab color, so a lighter color than what I have. This is like, I think this was forest green, but it's the green I happen to have in my supply of paint. And I actually went looking for like an olive spray paint at the hardware store, and I could not find any. So make do with what you have, I guess, is the lesson here. All right, so these four all appear to be the same, but I do want to at least be careful that I have the letters facing the right direction. That would be kind of silly if I didn't. And again, it would be nice if they were in a straight line with each other, but I'm not going to take the time to like measure that, especially because it says basically just put them anywhere. So I'm going to do the three on the one side and then rotate it and then do three on the other, and we should be good with that. Overall, like I said, I ended up putting 2 coats of paint on this. That was probably adequate. And there are a couple spots where the paint's a little light, probably could be a little heavier, but overall, I'm reasonably pleased. I do wish I would have done a little bit more with this. Ooh, hands are a little dusty. The spiral would have been nice, but oh well. The spiral is one of those things that I wish I would do a better job with, but I typically do not. All right, so that's one side. I'm going to completely flip it like so. So I want the script facing that way, this way, just because there's not really a compelling reason for that. This is just kind of how I want it. That way, I don't know. I think if you're looking for accuracy, you probably want to have the script like down be this side on both sides, but I mean, that doesn't really matter. The one thing I am going to do though is, so I know basically where I started this, right? Actually, you know what? I do want to face in the other direction now that I think about it. Certainly this is a stylistic decision since the instructions are particularly specific. Before I smooth this out, though, I do want to check. I'm going to dab some of that because there's a lot of water. I want to check that it's basically lined up, like this end is basically in the same place as this end. And I'm just rotating it around and watching. It's pretty close. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. So we'll go with that. Just when you're smoothing these out, make sure your finger is at least a little bit damp, because if it's completely dry, you could end up tearing the decal. It'll get stuck to your dry hand and then pull it off. You'll notice, of course, that I've got my blotting paper towel. That's good to go. Very exciting there. Hopefully this video doesn't take much longer because my water is starting to cool off. These are so small, it shouldn't really make much of a difference, but let's check the alignment. Yeah, that's not even close. Bring it up a little bit. A lot of dust on my hands. Must be pretty dusty on my table. Ooh, saw that coming. All right, that should be pretty good. Oops. Shoot. Well, that's not great. Dropped the paper towel right into the water, and somehow the decal got stuck to it. Well, that was interesting. Not what I intended to do, clearly. Okay. And then this one I had, it's basically in the right place. Just make sure it's on straight. A couple little blobs of water. It's not really going to hurt anything if it's on there long term, but I really don't need to have excess water. It's not going to help. All right, so that takes care of the water slides. I don't need the water anymore. The last decal is the sticker, basically. And the instructions suggest that you should probably put this on after you put a clear coat on. I don't think I'm going to do that. I use gloss paint instead of the flat matte finish, mostly because that's what I had. But my clear coat is also gloss. This is supposed to be matte, but whatever. Honestly, I mean, I don't care in the slightest. So since this is shiny and reflective, the gloss should be okay with it. Sometimes these don't quite look great once you paint over top of it, but this should be all right. Anyway, so this guy, it's supposed to go at the forward end of the rocket, so I'm just going to do my best to align it right at the end, and then I'm going to pull it taut the whole time, and I'm just going to rotate the rocket underneath it. I got to be careful not to touch the decals that I've already put on. And the critical part, of course, here is that I want the end and the beginning to line up about as perfectly as possible. And that actually looks pretty good. I'm just going to run over it once with my fingers here to smooth down any irregularities. There are a couple, but they're bumps in the paint job rather than air bubbles that I've left behind. So it looks pretty good. Yeah, I have this drip. I mean, mop that up a little bit. I don't know where that came from. Let's get rid of that. All right, so there we have it. This, by the way, I have this green. It wasn't green originally. It's just paper towel that I had shoved in here to keep the engine retainer. Sorry, not engine retainer. The recovery system all padded up. So that I'm not going to worry about right now. This needs a clear coat, but I'm going to let the water dry, of course, before that. And clear coat goes on, and then that's going to be kind of it. So I need to put the parachute in and tie a knot. That's kind of all there is to it. So, all right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the last video.